Hey guys, welcome to Series World. Today I'm going to explain a psychological thriller series called You from 2018. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The fifth episode opens with Beck waking up on Joe's bed in the morning. Joe likes these mornings, waking up with Beck, making breakfast for her, spending time with her, being intimate, taking showers together, and so on. But he hates it when she has to leave and he has to wait for the next morning. Joe hates nighttime the most because they have to spend the nights with Beck's friends, and Joe thinks that no woman with dignity and respect can tolerate them. Lynn is not able to have a decent conversation with anyone without alcohol, and Annika decided to go for Team Joe to pick a fight with the queen bee, Peach. After Peach arrives, Annika rubs it in her face that she has bigger assets than Peach. Peach scoffs at her. That's how every night goes. Annika starts sobbing, and Joe gets up to get her some tissues. Beck follows Joe, which Peach doesn't like. After Joe comes back, Peach shows him the Ozma of Oz book and asks about its worth. Joe tells her that it's a lot. Peach makes a comment that some desperate person is trying to steal her beauty. Joe claps back, saying she should appreciate what she has and not let it go. The next day, Annika goes to Joe's bookstore. She offers to help him set up a new social media page for the bookstore. She's a big influencer, and it'll be really helpful for the bookstore too. So Joe agrees. While Annika is busy taking selfies in the store, Joe goes through her Facebook profile and finds an old picture of Annika and Peach. This was before Peach got a nose job. Joe convinces Annika to post the picture on her Facebook and even suggests a catchy caption to go with it. The scene cuts to Beck, who is called by Professor Allison. She expresses to Beck how much she liked her poem, especially because it's hard to write about family issues. Allison also tells her that she has managed to secure some jobs for her if she's interested. Beck gladly accepts her offer. That night, Beck and Joe are getting dressed up to go on a fancy date. Peach had invited Beck, but she canceled to be with Joe, which Joe sees as a win. But their date gets canceled when Annika calls Beck, sobbing. One of her old videos is going viral where she's clearly being racist. Beck tells Joe she's sorry and goes to be with Annika. Joe is extremely worried about what Peach can do to Beck, so he decides to get inside Peach's head. He starts following her everywhere and notices every little detail about her. Luckily, he also has Beck's phone, so he can get a heads up when Peach is coming. Peach and Beck are meeting at the store today. Beck tells her about the new agent she got, the one her professor hooked her up with. Peach acts happy for her but says that she could have introduced her to a better agent who has repped famous writers. Joe heard all of this, but he just doesn't understand why a big agent like him would take interest in a novice like Beck. Anyway, Peach calls for Joe and tells him that they'll hold a party for the agent Steve here tonight. The scene changes to Joe coming back home. He finds Paco reading a book outside his apartment. He takes the book from him and sees that the book is about juvenile punishment. Seeing this, Joe calls Paco inside and sits him down. Joe gets it. Paco wants to defend himself or stand between his mom and Ron. The worst thing that could happen is Ron beats him, and he goes to school with bruises. CPS will be informed, and Paco will have 30 minutes to pack his bag to leave forever. He will jump from group home to group home or end up on the streets. Joe gets up and gets another book. The book is called The Count of Monte Cristo. It's a book about revenge, but more importantly, it's a book about how to live with your enemy. He gives the book to Paco. That night, Peach holds a big party at the bookstore. Beck also arrives there, but she gets more nervous seeing so many people. She gets a drink before introducing herself to Steven. Joe gives her a little pep talk, saying most writers have made up personas, and Beck just has to show a version of herself that's interesting. His pep talk works, and off goes Beck to talk to Steven. She acts all chill with him. While they're talking, Peach stands beside Joe, who is staring at Beck. She again makes some backhanded comments about Joe. After Peach leaves, Joe notices that Peach has left her bag. He takes her bag and goes to the basement. He tries to open her laptop, but there's a password. He doesn't try to guess the password to avoid alerting Peach. Peach's diary is also in her bag, and Joe goes through it. There's no useful information for him, but he does find a hot picture of Beck from who knows how long ago. Joe imagines Beck and starts pleasuring himself. After that, he goes back to the party and overhears Peach talking to Steven about Beck. Peach encourages Steven to turn Beck down and also tells him to be gentle with it. Joe is confused as to why Peach is trying to sabotage Beck's career. Joe decides to steal Peach's laptop. The next day, Joe meets with Annika to get some info on Peach. Annika has lost all her sponsors, 1/3 of her followers, and everyone is targeting her. She's also pissed that Beck is more worried about Peach than her. Joe assures her that Beck is busier with her work now. Joe asks Annika whether Peach had any pets, and she did. but the pet ran away, which left her quite heartbroken. While they're talking, Beck calls him to inform him that Peach is here about her stolen laptop. Joe tells her that he can't afford a laptop. Plus, Peach is beautiful, goes on runs every day. Moreover, she's a Salinger, so it wouldn't be weird if someone was creeping on her. Beck adds on saying Peach did tell her that she doesn't feel safe in her own home, and this isn't the first time this has happened. Joe suggests she use Find My Computer. Peach uses it and sees that her laptop is at her place. Peach scoffs and leaves. Joe was able to put her laptop back at her place. After Peach leaves, Joe asks Beck why she didn't stand up for him. Beck gives an excuse saying they're always fighting each other. She tells him she's busy and has to submit her work to Steven. Joe, who's very upset, blurts out everything he heard Peach and Steven saying at the party. But Beck doesn't believe him and gets upset at him instead. The next day, Joe sneaks into Peach's place and tries to log into her laptop again. He remembers that Annika told him that Peach always calls Beck Beckalicious and is always going on about Beck. So Joe tries Beckalicious and enters her laptop. Inside, he finds a file completely dedicated to Beck. Now Joe realizes that Peach isn't jealous of Beck. She's obsessed with her. Joe goes jogging the next day to follow Peach. He understands now what's going on. Peach's family is conservative, so she hid her real feelings for Beck, and now it has turned into an obsession. Meanwhile, Beck is being picked up by Steven in a fancy car. Beck is excited that he has read her work, but soon she realizes that he's not interested in her work. Moreover, he also tells her that Peach thinks she's not ready. Steven starts touching Beck and she pushes him away. The scene cuts to Paco, who's upset after reading the book. He tells Joe that his mom needs help now and they can't wait for such a long time. Meanwhile, Beck is meeting with Peach. She confronts her about setting her up for this humiliation. Steven was never interested in her work. He just wanted to get high and get intimate in a limo. Plus, Beck also tells her what Steven told her about Peach, that Peach thinks she's still not ready. Annika might be stupid, so it was easier for Peach to set her up, but Beck is not Annika. Peach also gets aggressive, and Beck leaves. Beck goes straight to Joe's place and tells him she's sorry for not believing him. They start making out on the sofa when Beck gets a call from Peach. She tells Beck that she has taken quite a few pills and isn't feeling good. Beck and Joe rush to Peach's place. Beck goes to check up on her, but Joe notices that Peach has written down all the dosages she has taken today, and it's not even enough to knock someone out. The whole thing was planned. Joe tries to get Peach admitted, but she rejects the idea. Joe tries to question it, but Beck backs Peach up, saying she has tried to do this several times before too. Beck decides to spend the night with Peach, and Joe goes back to his place. He imagines Peach getting intimate with Beck and, most importantly, getting between him and Beck. In the morning, Joe gets up hearing the sound of Ron and Claudia fighting. He sees Paco get out and get some pills. Joe is disappointed that he couldn't help Paco either. Joe decides that he needs to do something about Peach. That morning while jogging, Joe comes up to Peach from behind and hits her with a rock. Peach falls down. Joe starts running away from the crime scene. After coming back home, he sees Paco standing outside and Ron is on the floor unconscious. Joe helps Ron regain consciousness. But right after he does, Ron starts beating Joe. Paco, who comes back with a towel and nasal spray, goes back inside seeing the horrible scene. After Ron is done, Joe gets a call from Beck asking him to meet her at the ER as Peach was attacked at the park today. Joe realizes that Peach is still not dead. That's how today's episode ends. To watch more explanations of these kinds of series, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.